Hello and welcome to the Imaging Wire Show. My name is Brian Casey. I'm managing editor of the Imaging Wire. Got a great episode for you today. Our guest is Ken Kaufman. He is CEO of Sirona Medical. Ken, thanks for being with us today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Sirona?
Sure. First of all, Brian, thanks for having me.
You
I'm
bet.
the CEO of Sirona Medical, been in healthcare for about 35 years and spent a lot of that time actually in the imaging space.
All right, very good. So, Ken, we're going to be talking today about a lot of the pressures that are facing radiology and radiologists, and maybe how some IT solutions can help folks address that, and specifically how some of Sirona solutions can help address that. And some of these pressures are things like declining reimbursements, staff shortages, growing case volume. How do you see these forces challenging radiology leaders over the next 3 to 5 years?
Sure. Well, about 25 years ago when I worked at McKesson, and we actually bought a company called ALI, and it was this exciting time. We basically had 12 customers, and we said, hey, the world is changing. We needed to go ahead and produce these radiology systems that allowed radiologists to read. And we did that, and we were very, very successful. We installed thousands of these things. And that was in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. And since then, the world has changed. Radiologists used to really sit in the basement for whatever reason. It's always the basement of hospitals and read. And now the world is completely different. Radiologists read from anywhere. They read from multiple hospitals. And the change in reimbursements and the change in technology have really forced radiologists to go ahead and practice in new and different ways.
Yeah. Now, Sirona, you like to partner with radiologists, and you see yourself as a partner for growth. And your main platform is RAD OS. Can you talk a little bit about what RAD OS is and how it's designed to address some of these challenges that you just talked about?
Sure. I mean, maybe I could backtrack and just talk about the genesis of Sirona itself, which is we've been so successful in installing all of these on-prem complicated PAC systems in the 2000s to 2015. Every hospital, every imaging center really installed these large, complicated PAC systems because we had to read things digitally. And as a result of that, we have systems that are all over the place that are 10 to 15 years old minimally. And as a result, those systems are really, really hard to go ahead and upgrade and improve. So if you look at it, it's almost like the days of Blockbuster Video, if you can remember that. The Blockbuster videos in 2007, we were all at Blockbuster, and at 2010, Blockbuster went bankrupt and Netflix just emerged out of nowhere. And that's really what's happening in radiology. I mean, the technology is just not really suited for today's world and today's needs of radiologists.
A lot of it's pretty legacy technology, isn't it? I mean, a lot of the kind of the packs and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, from a PAC system standpoint, about 70% of the market is over 15 years old. So if you can imagine, going out, right now, my PC doesn't even have a DVD. And I'm sure you don't have a DVD player at home. And so imagine, that we were still going to Blockbuster and we were still renting DVDs. Of course, the world has changed. And with that, the PAC systems need to change.
Yeah, for sure. So let's kind of transition into what Sirona does and what you guys have developed. Can you talk a little bit about the RAD OS platform and what that does?
Sure. Well, so the concept of the RAD OS and what Sirona has done is we've delivered a 100% web and cloud-based PACS solution. And what we mean by that is there is nothing to download. You basically take your web browser, you type in our URL, and a radiologist is able to read. And so what's exciting about that is Sirona is able to go ahead and rapidly change what we're doing, rapidly improve our product, and all our customers need to do is just press refresh on a web browser. So if you think about it for a second, almost everything now works that way. Whether you're talking about Salesforce, QuickBooks, all the Google products, even Microsoft 365, the idea of loading large amounts of software onto someone's workstation, it's just something that's part of the past, and it really hurts in the ability to go ahead and provide innovation using that mechanism.
Yeah. How much of an advantage was it for Sirona to be able to go in and build this system without having to worry about like a legacy install base that maybe was, using a lot of on-premises software and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I was at McKesson for years, and McKesson had won best of class for support for 8 years straight. And it was a great time to be at McKesson. And what we did is we forced our customers to say, hey, you all need to be on the same PC. You all need to have these same servers to help in terms of being able to go ahead and upgrade and maintain those systems. And then, unfortunately, over 10 or 20 years, the permutations start going crazy because new servers, new PCs, and the ability to roll out innovation became really secondary just to keep our customers live. And so the ability to start fresh. And by the way, I wish 20 years ago, just like Blockbuster wished 20 years ago, you could start streaming. The technology wasn't available, but now it is. And so the ability to generate something that's truly in the cloud on one version of product. So we're a multi-tenancy product, meaning that everybody runs on the same version of the product. We are changing and improving the product weekly. And you just press the refresh button on your web browser and you got a new pack system.
That's amazing. Now, we've been talking about PACS, but my understanding is that RAD OS is about more than just PACS. Can you talk about some of the other tools that are available in RAD OS, and how important is it to have, one vendor supplying that complete technology stack?
Sure. Well, I mean, the story just goes on. It gets more complex when you have PowerScribe used to have almost 92% of the market. So that was another piece of integration. And then maybe you'd have some AI, and that'd be another piece of integration. So the concept of what we're doing with Rad OS is to provide a single point of access for a radiologist, whereby they can look at their work list, they can go ahead and read, they can go ahead and see summaries using LLMs, and they can go ahead and just naturally dictate in our system into a reporting system that generates an impression for them. So it's a one stop, but the one stop is developed completely in the cloud. And so people often get mixed up with, oh, I'm in the cloud, I'm actually working on a web browser. That's quite different. If you're working on a web browser, for example, that is being run out of a McKesson system or an IntelliRad system, and those are good systems, those are in the hospital themselves. And the difference between us, very much like Salesforce or Intuit or ChatGPT, everything for us is in the cloud. So we make a change once to this system that's integrated, and you get access to it anywhere, anytime.
Hmm. Do you see integrating all these different tools, the packs, the reporting, the AI workflow engines, integrating everything and offering it into one platform like RadOS? Does that make radiology practices more efficient? And as an extension of that, is that going to improve their profit margins?
Well, I mean, the whole goal of everything in radiology is improving productivity and efficacy and profit margins. And so about 50% of radiologists today read on multiple systems. That means they're toggling in their chair back and forth between multiple systems. And the idea about what we're delivering is a single point. Doesn't matter if your back end has multiple systems. We can provide we have a unify product. We can go ahead and sit in front of those systems and provide radiologists with a single modern system that's consistently being updated, that doesn't require you to jump from product to product and frankly learn the intricacies of multiple products.
Now, you mentioned, Ken, a little earlier that the RadOS platform is cloud native. Can we talk a little bit about the cloud architecture and your partnership with, I guess, Amazon Web Services, and how this partnership, helps improve the scalability and security of RadOS in ways that maybe a legacy PACS vendor might not have?
Sure. So all the legacy PACS vendors, and by the way, cloud is when people say they're native cloud or cloud, it's a misnomer in some respects. You could store information in the cloud, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're 100% cloud-based. And so there's a big difference. And so when you take a hospital that takes one of these legacy systems and installs it in their basement, they are actually going ahead and running the servers. They're going ahead and running the network attached storage. They're running the power. They're running the internet. They're competing not only with other vendors, but they're competing with AWS. So with us, we have the ability to go ahead and say, just bring your laptop. And Amazon Web Services has 410 points of presence, and they handle, or we handle with them, all the scaling. We handle everything as it relates to cybersecurity. We handle everything as it relates to being smart enough to cache information to a location that's close to you where you're reading. And as a result, it's just better solution.
Mm. Now, it sounds like that you're kind of taking a lot of the work and a lot of the hassles off the plate of radiology practices. Do you see this as something that could address the burnout crisis that's such a important or such a big challenge in radiology right now?
Yeah, I mean, the burnout crisis is real. And then also there are some really, really large organizations, IDNs, who just can't find people to read for them because physicians are just burnt out. They jumping between 4 or 5 different disparate systems is not something that's easily done. And so this concept of being able to go ahead and provide them the ability to read anywhere, um, whether it's at home, whether it's at work, even if unfortunately radiologists often read on vacations as well. This concept of having a real simple, hey, I've got internet access. Hey, I have my PC with me, or I have my Mac with me. Let me go ahead and read, provides them the ability to do the work they need to do on their time when they want to do it without any worrying about what's going on with the system, what's going on at the hospital, what's going on at the imaging center.
Yeah, it seems like this would really help a lot of these practices retain radiologists and keep their talent.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal. A lot of our initial clients, and there are some quite large, that is a huge factor. The radiologists just don't want to go ahead. Actually, as you mentioned, it's a productivity business. You're paid based upon number of studies read, RVUs, and if it's easier to go ahead and read on a system or on a platform like Sirona, and you can make more money and you have a better result, then that's what you're going to use.
For sure. Now, teleradiology, remote reading are really becoming critical to retaining talent, like we just discussed. Can you talk a little bit about how RAD OS makes these kind of hybrid reading models, distributed reading models, more profitable and more scalable?
Sure. I mean, one of the biggest challenges you have as any radiologist is, hey, I just want to go ahead and look at previous studies. In the case of teleradiology, I want my studies hung in a certain way, and so we provide some AI capabilities. We have a patented ontology where we have the ability, no matter where the image is coming from, we know what it is and we know how to hang it. And so to deliver a teleradiologist who could be reading at 30 different hospitals or 50 different modalities, but we understand automatically what we're looking at and hang information or hang studies in the way a radiologist wants to read them. So here are my currents, here are my previous's. I want my sagittals in the left corner. I want my coronals here. Uh, that basically is something that we could do, and probably only we can do, because we have this ontology and we have the ability to consistently improve it, and we have the ability to roll it out with a refresh of a browser.
Now, AI is so important in radiology, obviously. Are there any other ways that Sirona is leveraging radiology to help cut costs for imaging practices?
Sure. Well, there's a lot of AI out there, and there's been a lot of investment in what I would call diagnostic radiology, and those are delivered by great companies like ADOC or Harris and AI. You know, uh, and that those products really haven't taken off the way we hoped they would. First of all, there's a FDA hurdle, and second of all, to integrate all those products with every PAC system out there is very arduous, and the workflow is not great. So at Serrano, what we're focusing on is the ability to go ahead and deliver AI in the improvement of workflow.
Mm.
So the ability for you to go ahead and bring up a study and automatically let's summarize all the cases for you. So rather than searching what this patient did last time, what the study was, what the result was, let's go ahead and do all that for you immediately. And then, okay, after you have that, let's allow you to just talk at the screen and automatically using our focus mode, which is an AI, another AI tool, automatically put the information into a radiology report in the right location automatically. So there's no lot less clicking, a lot less transcribing. We also have a patented product that allows us to go ahead and take information from the pixel, which is the image itself, and automatically bring it into the report. These sound like little things, but when you do hundreds and hundreds of reads, saving 5, 6 clicks and keystrokes really helps with what you talked about earlier, which is burnout and efficiency.
Yeah, I mean, those add up over time. You think about, 5 or 6, click strokes a case, dozens of cases a day. That adds up.
Yeah. I mean, I think most radiologists would laugh and say dozens. It's probably hundreds would probably be a
Yeah.
better descriptor.
Yeah, for sure. So, Ken, let's dive a little bit more into this idea of you know, your cloud-hosted multi-tenancy model versus legacy packs where you've got all these servers and server types and upgrade permutations and manufacture, different types of firmware and all that kind of stuff. How does this impact kind of the bottom line at some of your clients when they're able to upgrade their functionalities just, kind of with the click of a button?
I mean, to be honest, it's really everything. So, if you look at what's going on in the world right now, NVIDIA is a really, really exciting company. And we talked earlier about 2010 or 15, about 99% of NVIDIA's revenue came from PC graphic cards. And now 90% of NVIDIA's revenue comes from cloud computing. So the world is going to the cloud. So it's not as if there's a question of whether PAX is going to the cloud. It has to go to the cloud because you cannot update thousands and thousands of systems. So at McKesson, which has changed to Change Health and now is Optum, but we had over 1,500 implementations, as I remember. And if you look at the permutations of all of those, it was almost impossible at this point to go ahead and provide true innovation. But this multi-tenancy in the cloud approach is saying, well, wait a second, I can go ahead and make a change and add some AI features and just roll it out to everybody. And that's really, really exciting. And again, rolling out is a refresh of a browser. So if you guys ever have been around a PAX upgrade, it's a scary thing. It takes sometimes 2 to 3 days. People get nervous. The product's not That's not the way it works with Sirona because we basically have a single platform. We do all the testing, we know how it's gonna work, and we just go ahead and roll it out to our customers, and we can actually roll it out in between cases. And the next time they go ahead and just log in, they have all that new capability.
So can you address the impact that Sirona's technology is going to have on the relationship that radiology groups have with their clients, which are hospitals and healthcare systems?
Sure. Probably the best way to answer that would be to talk about one of our existing customers who reads for a lot of hospitals, and a lot of actually IDNs as well. And one of the hospitals came up to them and said, "We don't have enough readers. I mean, we have to actually slow down our radiology services because we can't find people who could read." And we were able to bring up that customer in 3 weeks. And so within 3 weeks, they were reading, and it wasn't just 20, 50, 100 studies a day. It was 700,000 studies annually that we were able to bring up within a month. And so that changes the whole dynamics. This 9 months to 12-month install cycle is challenging. And when you have a RAD OS that's native in the cloud, you have the ability for the large IDNs and hospitals to go ahead and find readers and form relationships with groups that were previously really difficult to do because you had to go ahead and install hardware and you had to go ahead and do massive amounts of training and other things. That's not how it works with us.
Cool. Can you talk a little bit more about this idea of pixel-based reporting that you mentioned as kind of a core workflow concept with RAD OS? I mean, so how does tying the structured report data to the image give radiologists, more flexibility?
Sure. So it's our belief that if you're doing reporting and it's not tied to the image, then you're really losing out. And what I mean by that, if there's measurements, so let's just say we want to measure a lesion. Um, if you do the measurement, or if AI is doing the measurement, why wouldn't that be automatically put right into your report? Why is a radiologist having to go ahead and say, oh, that's 12 millimeters and type that and bring that over? And that goes for almost everything that a radiologist does. It's about reading an image. And as productivity tools help you measure, help you identify, help you go ahead and do everything as it's related to presenting that image, why wouldn't you at the same point want to take all those benefits, all that information you've gotten from that image, and automatically put it into your report? First of all, there's no mistakes in the transcription. Second of all, you're just saving a giant amount of time. So the idea of separating reporting from the image, we think is somewhat unnatural. And we actually filed a patent to go ahead and make sure that it's something that we could always do because we think it's that critical.
Cool. Now you call RAD OS a radiology operating system. How is that different from a PACS? And do you see this as kind of like a new category rather than competing with sort of the old legacy PACS architecture?
Yeah, I mean, the reason we call it an operating system is because we're trying to go ahead and automate all aspects of what a radiologist does when they have to go ahead and read a study, interpret, and do their job. And currently, it is a patchwork. So if you have an old legacy system, and there's only one or two systems that have been released in the last 15 years, so they're all somewhat legacy. If you have these old systems, there's a lot of add-ons. Okay, I'm going to use this reporting system, or I'm going to use this dictation system. And as a result of that, you, meaning the radiologist or the hospital or the imaging center, are responsible for patching all this together and making sure that your storage is working and making sure that your web server is working and making sure that there's um, you know no denial of service attacks and all those other things. We're providing an operating system whereby you just log in and you use the product, and you don't have to worry about any of those things. And with that comes efficiencies, cost savings. And obviously, from a cyber standpoint, you're a lot more secure because you're basically leveraging us and AWS as opposed to doing all of that yourself.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Now, Ken, we're starting to get into the RSNA season, and we'll be all in Chicago in a couple months. Anything that we can look forward to seeing at Sirona over the next few months, and maybe in Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's always fun at RSNA. So we look forward to having anyone and everyone come visit us. But I would actually go ahead and pledge this if you really want to know what's available in the cloud. And it's easy for me to say this right now because we're the only live cloud vendor, truly multi-tenancy cloud vendor. Bring your PC with you, bring your Mac with you, and you walk into our booth and we'll give you a URL and a login, and you'll be reading. There's no downloading of software. There's no excuses. Just come on up to our booth with your laptop, with your iPad, and let's go ahead and read. Let's go ahead and show you how the RAD OS works. And, you can talk, but we can show. And so please visit us and please take me up on that challenge.
Awesome. Well, that'll be something to look forward to. Well, Ken, thanks so much, Ken Kaufman of Sirona Medical. Thanks so much for being with us today. It's really been a pleasure to talk to you and learn a bit more about RAD OS.
The pleasure was mine. Thanks so much for the time.
You bet. Signing off for the Imaging Wire, my name is Brian Casey.